Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something maybe a bit ambitious. We've basically grabbed this huge, almost chaotic news digest from just one day, November 6th, 2025. We're trying to use it like a snapshot, really, to see how fast and how, well, deeply AI is changing pretty much everything.
It is quite a snapshot, isn't it? A really dense one. Because when you sort of filter through these headlines, I mean, you've got billion-dollar deals, new physics solutions, really specific consumer apps, global funding. The big picture pops out almost immediately. AI isn't just, some lab concept anymore. It's actually becoming fundamental, like the backbone for infrastructure for the products we use every day.
Absolutely. And that's our mission today, right? Look beyond just the single headline, the daily noise, and spot the major currents shaping this whole landscape. We're tracking AI's evolution from those massive corporate spends right down to, like, the app update on your phone.
Okay, so let's dive in. Maybe start with the biggest battleground. That seems to be the user experience, the tech giants fighting to own how we interact with AI. And the sheer amount of money involved here. It really speaks volumes, a mix of ambition and maybe a bit of desperation.
Yeah, and the headline that just jumps out is that reported Apple and Google deal. Apple apparently finalizing paying Google, get this, $1 billion a year just to rework Siri. I mean, when you hear that number, what's the immediate reaction?
Honestly, it feels like the clearest sign yet that Apple's whole do-everything in-house philosophy, their vertical integration, well, it hit a wall with AI. For years, they built everything themselves, right? Hardware, software, services. So paying your main competitor $1 billion annually to fix a core product like Siri, it just screams that their internal AI efforts haven't kept up. Not with Google, anyway.
It's like buying speed, isn't it? A very expensive way to catch up. They must realize that user experience, especially voice assistants, it's lagged. And they need cutting-edge AI like yesterday, so they're basically outsourcing innovation to stay in the game.
Exactly. It's not just a cost. It's like a critical strategic move. Get that advanced tech integrated now. Building it from scratch would take too long, leave them years behind. Meanwhile, Google's playing a different game, but just as aggressively. They're making their AI almost impossible to avoid.
Right. You see that in these small changes that impact loads of people, like in Chrome, on phones, right? iOS and Android. They added this new shortcut button for AI mode. It's right there under the search bar when you open a new tab.
And that tiny change, it just smooths everything out. It removes friction. Takes AI from being, some feature you have to dig for to being one tap away. Google's making sure AI becomes the default, the normal way you interact online. They want to own that initial interaction.
And it's not just in the browser. They're pushing that into the real world, too, with navigation. Google Maps is getting Gemini AI integrated for better hands-free use and real-time info about places nearby, points of interest.
Think about how different that is. Maps used to just give you a route, a static thing. Now it's becoming more like an interactive co-pilot. You can ask it questions about what's around you right now. It feels like both Apple and Google see that the next phase needs AI right at the surface. Voice, browser, navigation. It has to be the first thing you touch.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From that huge billion-dollar fight for the interface to where AI is getting really personal, maybe even a little controversial, the niche applications, where AI isn't just on your phone, it's trying to manage your dating life.
Ah, yes. Tinder's new feature, chemistry. That's definitely pushing some boundaries, testing what users are willing to trade for, potentially better matches.
This is where it gets wild, I think. So chemistry asks you questions. Okay, standard enough. But the kicker is it needs permission to access your camera roll photos, to figure out your interests, your personality. Now, for you listening, constantly weighing privacy versus convenience, that's got to raise an eyebrow, right?
Oh, absolutely. And Tinder knows that. It's a calculated risk. They're betting the promise of finally getting better matches, that personalization. They're betting it'll outweigh the frankly, serious privacy implications. I mean, accessing your entire photo library, that's incredibly intimate data. They're asking for a lot to improve their core function.
It's a fascinating trade-off, isn't it? Is a potentially better date worth giving up access to your personal photos? Meanwhile, still on personalization, but maybe less invasive. AI is also getting baked into hardware, little accessories for simple tasks.
Right, like that smart ring, Stream, came from X-Meta folks. They're calling it a mouse for voice. Basically, its job is taking quick voice notes, controlling music, hands-free stuff. You don't even need to look at your phone.
It's sort of ambient AI, right? Technology just fading into the background, worn on your finger. Instant utility.
And this connects to a really important counterpoint to all the billion-dollar spending we were just talking about, efficiency. Pinterest CEO Bill Ready was highlighting how well they've done using open-source AI. especially for their visual search.
That feels like a key insight. Pinterest managed to cut costs, like, significantly, but still got tremendous performance. It shows that maybe the Apple-Google way, just throwing billions at it, isn't the only way.
Precisely. It suggests there are kind of two roads to AI success opening up. There's the massive capital expenditure route, buy or build the huge foundational models, think Siri deal, Google's own R&D. But then there's this other path, strategic efficiency. Companies like Pinterest cleverly using mature, powerful open-source models. They tailor them for their specific strengths, like visual search, lets them compete effectively without breaking the bank.
That's a really useful distinction. But okay, even if you take that efficient path, you're still relying on this massive hidden machinery underneath it all. Which brings us to Section 3, the physical infrastructure, the stuff making this all possible.
Yeah, this is the less glamorous side. Expensive, technically challenging, but absolutely critical. You just can't run these giant AI models, whether for Siri or Tinder, without hitting a fundamental physics problem.
Heat. Right, and Alloy Enterprises, they're tackling that AI heat problem head on.
When you think about AI models, you're talking thousands of processors, GPUs, running full tilt, doing insane calculations. That generates a ton of heat. So much heat it can actually throttle performance, slow things down, even cause hardware failure.
Yeah.
If you can't cool it efficiently, you can't scale up. It's a basic roadblock.
So what's Alloy's solution? How are they getting around that?
They're using this new additive manufacturing, basically 3D printing for metal, but with incredible precision. They create these really complex microscopic channels inside the metal parts of server racks. This drastically improves how well liquid cooling systems work, lets them pull heat away much faster. It pushes the physical limits of cooling. And honestly, without breakthroughs like that, the growth of large-scale AI just stalls.
It's like the hidden arms race, the tech battle happening behind the scenes that decides who can actually deliver on the AI promise. And while they're solving the physics, they're also throwing just astronomical sums at security. Google getting the okay to buy Wiz, the cloud security firm, for $32 billion.
$32 billion. Let that sink in. That deal, set to close in early 2026. It tells you everything about how enterprises see AI security. As these powerful, often proprietary AI models move on to cloud platforms, companies need rock-solid guarantees that their intellectual property, their data, is safe.
So this Wiz acquisition, it's not just about Google securing its own cloud services. It's positioning Google Cloud as the safe harbor, the trusted place for big companies to run their sensitive AI operations.
Exactly that. The $32 billion price tag, that's essentially the entry fee for building that level of enterprise trust.
Yeah.
So you combine that security blanket with the ability to actually cool the servers running the AI. Now you start to see the real foundational cost of this whole AI revolution we're witnessing.
Yeah, $32 billion for security, $1 billion a year just for a voice assistant tune-up, new metal tech to beat heat. The scale is just immense. Okay, let's look ahead now, the next frontiers, how AI might change business models, and the challenges of truly autonomous systems.
Well, one really interesting trend is democratizing creation. Moving beyond coding apps in the traditional way. Look at Wabi, this new venture from the founder of Replica. They just raised a $20 million pre-seed round.
And maybe just to clarify for listeners, a pre-seed round of $20 million, that's huge. It means investors poured in serious money before the product is even really out there or making money, shows massive belief in the concept.
And the concept is pretty compelling. They're calling Wabi a YouTube for apps. The idea is a platform where regular users, non-coders, can create and share mini apps just using simple prompts. You basically describe what you want the app to do, and Wabi, the AI, builds it. It could potentially turn anyone into a developer.
That's the dream, right? Easy AI-powered creation for everyone. But then Microsoft's research on AI agents kind of throws some cold water on that, doesn't it?
It certainly provides a reality check. Microsoft set up this experiment like a simulated marketplace. They let AI agents, basically autonomous digital workers designed to do tasks on their own, loose in it. And the results showed, quote, surprising shortcomings. These agents didn't perform reliably when left unsupervised in complex situations.
So the vision is these agents will just run things for us eventually. But the research suggests, not so fast. They still struggle with complex tasks without a human keeping an eye on things.
Which raises a really big question for the whole industry, I think. How do you bridge that gap between the Wabi vision, anyone prompts an app, and the reality that the underlying agents needed to run those apps? Well, they still face significant hurdles with stability and reliability. The innovation is fast, yes, but achieving true, dependable autonomy, that's proving harder.
Yeah, interesting tension there. Meanwhile, though, the global money machine just keeps churning, betting on expansion, regardless of these current tech limits.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the geographic place. SoftBank and OpenAI teaming up in Japan. It's a joint venture, not just sales. They're localizing OpenAI's enterprise tech, and SoftBank itself is the first customer. That kind of built-in synergy guarantees quick, high-value adoption right off the bat.
And similarly, you've got Goldman Sachs putting $100 million into MoEngage for global expansion. MoEngage uses AI for customer engagement already in 75 countries. This just fuels that growth, especially North America, their biggest market.
It shows the demand for these AI-driven customer platforms is just exploding everywhere. And we definitely need to mention the investment flowing into emerging tech hubs. NVIDIA, Qualcomm, various VCs, they're partnering to pump over $850 million into India's deep tech startup scene. That's a huge signal. The big players aren't just selling to the world anymore. They're actively investing in where the next waves of innovation might come from.
Wow. Okay, that is a dizzying amount of activity for just one day's news cycle. So let's try to pull out the main threads we followed today. First, that massive multi-billion-dollar war for the consumer interface is undeniable. The Siri deal, the Chrome button, the Maps integration. Big tech is willing to pay almost anything to own your primary interaction point with AI.
Right. And second, underpinning all that flashiness are these enormous, often hidden infrastructure costs and challenges, developing new physics for cooling, like Alloy is doing. And that gigantic $32 billion price tag for Wiz, showing just how crucial security and trust have become in the AI cloud era.
And then finally, you put the sort of utopian dream of Wabi, the YouTube for apps, next to the sobering results from Microsoft's agent research. And the takeaway seems pretty clear. Yeah, the future probably involves us prompting AI to create tools and apps for us, but there's still a big technological hurdle to overcome before those AI creations can reliably run themselves without supervision.
Exactly. We're moving from using fixed apps to prompting bespoke ones, but agent reliability is the current bottleneck.
So, since AI is clearly weaving itself into everything from cooling servers to maybe finding you a date, here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Based on everything we covered today, just the sheer breadth of it, what everyday service are you using right now? Something that feels totally normal, maybe even essential. What service do you think is next in line to be completely transformed, not just tweaked, but fundamentally overhauled by AI? Think about what might become obsolete sooner than we expect.
Lots to think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.